Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. All right, jumping in. First of all, just thank God it's Friday. It feels nice. Back to work this week. Some work last couple days. Got a nice automated marketing campaign set up for my company, so that'll be the first fully automated campaign we have running, which is pretty exciting. But it's Friday night. I don't think anyone really wants to talk about work so much as have a little fun. So today it's time to talk a bit about tips and tricks. So starting with ticks, I was watching my stream yesterday. It reminded me that I twitch like a motherfucker. It's something I forget that I do it. I was born with a nervous tick. I've had it my whole life, and it's interesting because it moves around my body. You know, quick side note: this cat never jumps on my lap till the moment I try to stream, and then here she is, and all she wants is for me to pet her, and she's driving me nuts. Lay in your bed, right there. Good. And so back to ticks. Um, Something I've had my whole life. I was born with it. I hardly notice that I do it. I never think about it. I don't even realize it. In fact, it wasn't until I was watching the video, as I said last night, and it reminded me that, oh yeah, I have a tick. And it's something that has never particularly affected me adversely, that I'm aware of, at least in my career, personal life, anything else. And it's something that I found the more I don't think about it, the less it seems to matter. But I just figured I'd call it out because most people, when they see me, they go, "Man, that guy's twitching all over the place. What's going on with him?" And yeah, I was born with it. I said it moves around the body. It's odd. So when I was a little kid, it was mostly blinking. It's a lot of this type of stuff. Currently, it's been more of a facial tick. It'll move around every couple of years. I don't know why. I don't fully understand. In fact, I don't think anyone really does. As far as I know, there's no cures. But it'll move to the hands, and I'll do stuff like this a lot, or it'll be in the arms, things like this, and it's completely uncontrollable. And they know it's related to uh they believe it's related to things like Tourette's or something along those lines, but nobody fully understands it. But it's fair to mention because it's something that I noticed very drastically in the video, but as I said, I hardly ever think about it, and it's not something that really bothers me at all in day to day life, but it is something that's there and very apparent. Um, so I just figured I'd mention what that was and what it's about, and just a little more background. The higher stress, the more it shows up, and various situations that could come and go. And interestingly, it actually has served me well in one context, at least. I was a poker player for many, many years. Played poker, I mean, regularly for about, let's see, 16, a little over 16, 17 years. And I played professionally for a couple of years. And it was interesting because my tick actually worked in my favor in poker. I was always at the table player. I was not an online player, and it is really hard to get a read on someone who's twitching all the time because they can't look for a change in my demeanor, a change in how I am, because I'm always twitching and nobody could get a good read because the twitch didn't relate to the cards I had. And then there were times, based on whether it was higher or lower, people if I had known and played from for a while, people who I knew thought it meant a certain thing, I could even play off that by pretending, etc. But just something to mention is, and one of the reasons I want to mention it too is anyone else out there who's got a tick or any other kind of physical or not, I wouldn't call it a disability, but a oddity, if you will. Don't let it bother you. One thing is, I said I ignore it. To me, it's almost like it doesn't even exist, and it really doesn't to me, except for the rare occasion when it gets called out for some reason or another. And then I've never been shy about it. I just tell people what it is, and it doesn't bother me. Never has. And one of the reasons I bring that up too is it kind of leads into another thing I want to talk about, and that's the tricks. It's the new year. Everyone's making resolutions for everything. One of the ones I've seen coming up a lot is a lot of people saying they're going to start podcasting or they want to get to more podcasting or do podcasts. Well, I started my podcast originally back when I had lost my job back in around March or April, somewhere around there. I ran my podcast for a couple months. I had done 27, I believe, episodes, and I was enjoying it. And then I got a new job. I stopped doing it, and I found every excuse in the world not to get back to it. Well, I finally told myself back before Christmas that I was going to get back to my podcast, that I wanted to do it, not because anything pushing me to or anything else, but just because I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I think it's good for building a brand, sharing information, everything else. but mostly it's just fun to, do. Well, anyone who's thinking about doing a podcast or anyone who's ever tried a podcast can probably attest to this. The hardest thing about doing a podcast is pushing play. Now, I do my podcast fully live, and the reason I do it live is I like the fact that it's unedited. I like the fact that the mistakes show up, and to me, there's a certain level of authenticity that exists in a live podcast that you don't get in a pre-recorded, edited format. And it also just makes it very, very clear that this is it, right? That there's no second chances. What's there is there. Now, sure, you run into some, issues. You get cats that jump on you and won't stop bothering you, even when you put them down and you tell them to leave you alone. But you occasionally get kids who wander into the room or the dog starts barking, etc. So there's some drawbacks to going live, but I still think it's a great method. But once again, going back to doing a podcast, anyone who's done it will tell you the hardest thing to do is hit go live. I have sat down at my computer so many times and like, all right, I'm going to do a podcast now. I did this at least a dozen times over the past 6 months. And I get all ready. And mind you, I don't have a fancy setup. I have a ring light, I have a 720p webcam, and a blue microphone. That's it. And I have lots of monitors around. But that's just for work. Um, Push and go live is the biggest challenge of all. And here's the trick I wanted to share for all of you out there thinking about starting a podcast. And this trick is something I really stumbled on, I guess, back in grad school. And it's advice I've now shared with many people. And the advice is Nike that shit. And what that means is just do it. Stop making the excuse. Don't go, oh, my tic's acting up today. Oh, the lighting's not right. Oh, the timing's not right. Oh, I don't know what I want to talk about. Oh, this or that. Just do it. Click the button. Once you hit live or record, whichever way you're going, it's pretty easy. The hardest part is getting over that initial hump of pushing the button. Once you do that, especially when you're doing a live format, you're just going. I mean, I don't generally bring much in the way of notes. I did the other day for my first one back, and honestly, it was all over the place. I had too many topics that I had notes on, and it got a little cluttered. Yesterday, I did a shorter podcast. It was only about 15, 18 minutes long, somewhere around there, on a single topic. And honestly, I thought it was much better. And that brings me to another point. Simplify. Friday night, poured myself a nice drink. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a huge fan of bourbons and ryes. This is an interesting one. This is a Knob Creek bourbon and rye. It's a blend of Knob Creek bourbon and rye, bottled by them, sold like this. And I absolutely love bourbon. I absolutely love rye. I'm a big fan of Knob Creek as well. I like both their bourbons and their ryes. The truth is, on this one, it's not a great bourbon, nor is it a great rye. Drinkable, it's passable, but there's nothing special about it. If anything, it muddies the flavor as you're halfway between. Well, same thing goes when you're doing anything else. And I know this is age-old wisdom of, the multi-tool isn't good at any of the jobs. I don't entirely agree with that. I think there's times where things that do multiple things can work incredibly well. And once again, simplify. Don't do the bourbon and rye. Have a glass of bourbon or have a glass of rye. When you put them together, it's not all it's cracked up to be. So, once again, what's the moral of that story? Keep it simple. If you're going to do your podcast, you want to get a podcast going, just Nike it. Just do it. Hit the button. Don't get overly complicated. Pick a single topic to focus on for that podcast and give it a go. As you get going more, and this is something I figure for myself too, I'm still finding my way in this, where I'm going to really come out. And it's something where I wish I got more feedback because, I don't know what my audience wants. I don't even truly know who my audience is yet. On LinkedIn, I think I have an audience of close to 7,000 people. On YouTube, I have in the low 20s, I think. And on X, I think I have 20, 30 total audience. So I'm predominantly on LinkedIn. I'm trying to grow an audience across the board. But part of the question becomes, what does the audience want? Well, what I came to realize is if you don't know what your audience wants, Just tell them what you want to tell them. Give them something. Pick one thing. Do a podcast on it. See how it goes. See if you get feedback. See if your views are up or down. Ask for feedback. At the end of every one of my podcasts, I say, please send me questions, send me comments. I'm happy to address. I know for my podcast, I changed the name. It was originally Morning Coffee Live. I've now switched it to MCG, standing for Marketing Colored Glasses. I still don't know if I'm even going to stay with that name. But why did I go Marketing Colored Glasses? Well, I know whatever it is I do, wherever I end up fitting in, it's going to be around marketing because I view the world through marketing colored glasses. I've been in the industry nearly 20 years. And everything in my life I look at through the lens of my background, my career, my education, which is marketing, PR, and advertising. So everything I look at comes from marketing colored glasses. And the beauty of it is it gives me the freedom to really talk about any topic through that lens. And so, once again, going back to what's the trick? The trick is Nike it, pick something, and then give it your spin, your approach on it. For me, everything's marketing related. Everything comes back to marketing. Marketing to me is far more than an ad or a this or a that. It's an entire viewpoint. It's a way of looking at the world. And it's an approach to looking at the world that differs from many others because you're looking at it really from you look at things from a perspective of how does whatever it is I'm viewing affect others? How is it going to affect publics? How is it going to affect a, a specific public, masses, etc.? And it's interesting because almost anything you ever look at, almost any topic, almost any news article, any story, anything you ever read can be looked at through a marketing lens. And you're going to have a different view of it than, say, an engineer would, or a computer programmer, or a fast food employee, or a gas station attendant, or anyone else. So I look at the world with marketing colored glasses always. So my thought is pick a topic that any topic you want, and then come from your background, your experience, and apply it to that. So once again, bourbon and rye. You look at that from a practical standpoint, you go, oh, that's interesting. It's a bourbon and a rye mixed together. And you go, okay, gee, that might be great. You taste it, and you realize it's not a great bourbon, it's not a great rye, but it's not a bad drink. Well, let's look at that now through marketing colored glasses. You slap bourbon and rye on the bottle. What does that tell the people you're selling it to? Well, one, it catches their eye because seeing bourbon rye combinations isn't very common. So yes, it caught the eye. In fact, that's why I bought it in my local liquor store. He knows I like bourbons and ryes. He showed me right when he got it. He said, "Hey, check this out. It's a bourbon and rye." So I bought to see what I think. From a marketing standpoint, it's a smart move. It's something unique. It's something different. Yet at the same time, from a practical standpoint, from the final product standpoint, it's not nearly as good as either of the two products that it comes from. So then the question becomes, is it worth making in the first place? Well, to me, that's a marketing question. I guarantee you there's people who are going to try this and they're going to think it's the greatest thing they ever had. And that's going to be psychological more than it's going to be flavor based because you're going to get people who like things mixed together, who do like bourbons, who do like ryes, or don't like bourbons, don't like ryes, and they're going to find that blend to be a happy medium for them. But once again, it's because they're told. Had they not told me it was a bourbon and rye, and I was just given this, said, hey, here, try this, I would have smelled it. I would have said, it's a little woody, a little fruity. How does it taste? It's sharp, it's high proof, it's kind of dull going in, hits you pretty hard with kind of a woody flavor, and then it just fades out into a mix of kind of everything, and there's no distinct, in taste, if you will. Well, does that make for a good product? I would argue no. Yet the marketing convinced me to buy it because it was a bourbon and rye. Well, what is marketing all about? It's about getting people to try your product, to use your product, whether they like that product or if they've ever used that product, even if they know nothing about that product. With the bourbon and rye, they had a shortcut. People know bourbons, they know rye. Someone like me who knows both and knows them pretty well goes, ooh, that's fascinating. They put them together. Let's give it a shot. That's marketing. This bottle, I guarantee you, no one at Knob Creek sold this because they thought they found a great thing. No one went and said, oh my gosh, try this combination. It's incredible. No, someone said, "Hey, I bet you if we mix a bourbon and rye together, we can hit a new market, or we could at least sell some, a new product, and people are going to be willing to try it because it's something new." So, from a marketing standpoint, it's a success. From a product standpoint, I would argue it's a failure. Well, once again, going back to whatever it is you're doing, whatever your New Year's resolution might be, worry about the marketing, not the end product, because the marketing is what's going to get someone to check it out. The end product will determine whether or not they stay around. Pick a single thing and do it right, and you will get people who are interested in that and they continue. My single thing is marketing focused. No matter what topic I'm discussing, it's always going to be from a marketing standpoint. People who enjoy that type of content are going to end up following me. They're going to find a place and they're going to go, "Oh, this is interesting. I can, learn something here, this, that, the other thing." Who knows what their rationale is? But that's why they're going to stay. If you jump around too much, then you're relying entirely on your personality to bring them in. And the truth is, most people just aren't that interesting. Um, and so it's one of those things of pick a niche, stick with it, just Nike it, hit play, give it a shot. Don't worry about your tick. Don't worry about your lighting. Don't worry about your equipment. Go out, give it a shot. We're in a new year. It's time to give some new things a try. Go out there, find yourself an audience, tell them a story. Doesn't matter what it is. Have some fun with it, but don't be afraid to just give it a shot. Bourbon and rye is not the greatest combination. They gave it a shot. They marketed it well. I bought it. Would I buy it again? No, but at least I tried it. That's better than had for them, for Knob Creek, than had I never tried it at all. Hell, I'm talking about it on the show. Someone else might find that interesting. Go, "Oh, I'm going to go try that myself and buy it." You never know what's going to work until you try. So, my advice to all you, my tips and tricks is give it a shot. Just Nike that shit. Whatever it is you're thinking, just do it. Don't worry about what people are going to think. Don't worry about how you look. Don't worry about how it's going to come across. Give it a shot. Go try. There's no harm in trying. A lot of people have a fear of rejection. And I get it. I've been rejected tons of times. I mean, hell, when I was unemployed last year, I sent in thousands of resumes, and I got hundreds of rejections. I got just completely ghosted hundreds of times more. Well, if you let that get to you, you'll just stop. Truth is, keep going. So far, have I found an audience that what I'm doing really resonates with? No, not necessarily. But I'm going to keep trying new things. I'm going to keep bringing new ideas to it. I'm going to approach everything through my lens of marketing. But at the same time, I'm not going to stick to just this topic or just that topic. I'm going to play around with it. And as I do that, I'm going to find what resonates. And when I do, I'll probably focus more there. But I'm not also going to give up on trying new things because the more things you try, the more successes you're going to have. One thing I've learned through marketing for many years is there is no magic bullet. There is no guaranteed win. There is no one way to always get it right. But I can tell you this: you don't try anything, nothing will succeed. If you try enough things and you don't give up, eventually you will find something that works. When you're writing copy for an ad, your first copy is almost never going to be the greatest. Your second round may not work any better. Your third round might not either. But if you keep trying, you keep A/B testing, you test against each other, A this versus B that. Figure out which works better of those two, even if neither of them are good, which is better of the two, and then test that against a new one and a new one. Iterative development, iterative testing, and constantly trying new things. One thing I can guarantee you is eventually you will find what works. And then when you do, double down on it. Doesn't mean you stop innovating, you stop doing new things, but you found a winner. And the more things you try, the more chances you have to win. When you play poker, in poker, pocket aces is the best hand. It doesn't win every time. If you go all in every time you get pocket aces, it's not going to inherently be a bad move. But at the same time, you're not going to win every hand. You should win more than you lose. That's statistics. But at the same time, sometimes you're going to lose even with the pocket aces. So the moral of the story here too is Just because you tried something once and it didn't work, don't give up on it completely. You might have had pocket aces and they only had a 2-7 offsuit and somehow were in and they hit trip twos to win. Well, guess what? That doesn't mean the pocket aces were bad. It means the timing didn't work out. That hand didn't work. As you play thousands upon thousands, or in my case, hundreds of thousands of hands of poker, what you'll find out is the things that work will work repeatedly. So, one of the things to remember is when you're trying out new things, don't try it once. Try it once, and then if it doesn't work, try it again at another time. Maybe it's the day a week, maybe it's the time of day, maybe it's just the random day you did it. Come back to concepts too. So pick something, give it a shot. If it doesn't work, move on and try something else. But don't write off what you've done before that didn't work. Instead, keep that in your repertoire because for all you know, that's the pocket aces, but you just happen to hit on the wrong hand. Through time, you will learn. And everyone says content is king. Well, it is. As long as you're creating content, as long as you're putting stuff out, as long as you're trying new things, you're going to find successes. And when you do, learn from them. When you fail, learn from that too. But don't forget that your failures could be future victories as well. So don't give up. So, once again, don't let things get to you. Don't let excuses stop you. Just Nike that shit. Click the button. Just do it. And that's not just for podcasting. No matter what your New Year's resolution is or whatever it is you're planning to do, whether it's a resolution or not, just do it. And the more you do it and the more consistent you get with it, like anything else, the better you'll get at it. And through time, you'll find what works. You'll find what works for you. If that's going to the gym, get in the car and go and pick up a weight. Pick it up once and then go back the next day and do it again. Don't give up. Don't stop. Keep trying, and you will find success. So, wishing you all a wonderful 2025. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. I will be back talking to you all next week. Have a great night. God bless. Don't drink bourbon rye. Cheers.